Here's a news flash for you. Mel doesn't need my help.
I absolutely adore Doc. He's brilliant, he's clever, he cracks me up every time he speaks. He's charming, and I swear to God, if you are gonna scorn like a Scotsman.
Have you seen any of her videos? Or is this just a thing that you're trying to do this divide and conquer, that Mel needs my help because I have testicles for some reason?
So a bit of science before we watch this particular film. There are multiple genes that play a very, very small role in what we would consider intelligence. And there's so many different ways to measure intelligence that just one standard test usually is not the best measure. You have to have, and this is coming from an educator as well. There's multiple ways to determine intelligence. There's different types of intelligence. And so with that said, IQ has largely to do with environmental factors. And so nutrition, socioeconomic status, that sort of thing, availability of resources, lots of different factors play a role in intelligence. Genetics plays an extremely small role overall. So I thought we could just sit and watch two incredibly racist people who are not scientists try to use science for their racism. So let's have a look at Jordan Peterson and Stefan Moo, whatever his name is.
Well, there's another issue too that goes along with the identity politics to some degree here, that this stratification of society is starting to reflect, because I pointed out earlier that the best predictor of long-term life success economically is intelligence and trait conscientiousness. But that also means that our culture is stratifying meritocratically. And there's some things about this that we really have to take seriously. And this is where some of the uglier elements of science become germane. So IQ is a particular.
Perfect.
See, my problem always when Kermit the Frog fucking speaks is he always goes off on these fucking random word salad rants where like three adjectives in, I forgot what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with him. Like I have and I'm gonna say this to any Jordan Peterson fans that might come up listen to this. I might sound like I'm on your side when I say this. I have not heard Jordan Peterson's racism because I can't get past his fucking word salad.
Yeah.
Like I just glossed over. Yeah.
Yeah, he just throws a lot of words at you at once, and it's just kind of like, please arrive at the point. Like just get to the thing that you're trying to get to. So I want to see where he goes with this. I want, because I've heard him make like really fucked up gender comments before. So let's go ahead and see what he's got to say about race.
But I do want to say this. This is a message to you, Jordan Peterson. If you want to, have more mic time, be more like Hannibal. Like I call him for an important shit show issue, and I pick up the phone, and Hannibal goes, "Before you start, let me tell you this." 30 minutes later, I have to remember why I called him. But that 30 minutes was entertaining as fuck. So
there you go. There you go.
All right, be more like Hannibal.
That was like the compliment shit sandwich. It was like a shit bun, right? It was like a bread with doo-doo on it, but then it was like a compliment in the middle, and then it was like some more doo-doo on the. And that's what he just get. Thank you, fuck you, but thank you, right? Both of those things. I mean, and here's the thing: he's not wrong. Like I do that, but that's just because I have a lot of things on my mind and stuff. And anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that I
Wait, what was
the
that?
other thing that I was just gonna say the other thing that I really like about two dudes talking about IQ and race is that they're both white. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
White
white people
dudes.
always have an opinion on what the brown people are doing. Always.
I don't. I don't give a fuck. It's my
There you
problem.
go.
Listen,
And-
Billy,
and-
I'm
and
not
to-
far from-
Can we all agree that Molyneux should change his background color? When you're that white, your background should not be also super white, like any other shade. Any other.
Can we just
Yeah,
Can we
it's
just
almost like a
figure
green
out-
screen for him at this point.
oh
can we
god.
just from
Well,
here on
let's-
from here on can we from here
Okay.
on refer to them as Kermit and Thor's hammer?
Okay. We'll call him Meow Meow. We want to call him
Yeah,
Meow
yeah,
Meow.
you know,
because that's how you.
Meow.
Yeah, we'll call him Kermit and Meow
yeah,
Meow.
Meow Meow and Kermit.
Why not
Yeah,
Matchbox 20? Because I can't think of a whiter band.
There you
Nickelback,
go.
man. Freaking Nickelback. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, you
Nickelback.
got
Damn,
Anyway. But I don't know that they're racist though. They're just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
just they make a lot of mom
Which is
rock
worse?
songs, and they make a lot of mom rock songs, and they make a lot of country songs disguised as rock songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people that'll be like, I hate country music, but I love Nickelback. So no, if you like Nickelback, that means you're at least bi-curious. So I mean, country curious.
Ooh, I found someone that actually likes Tyler Perry movies for you.
Oh, all right. We'll talk
You know,
about
Sad
that later.
Atheist.
Oh wow.
Oh gosh. Let's carry on with Kermit and Meow Meow.
ugly aspect of science, because the IQ literature reveals that which no one would want to be the case, which is that there are profound and virtually irremediable differences in people's cognitive performance, and
No,
that
there's
those
not.
differences have a very solid biological and heritable basis. No one
No,
wants
they
to hear
don't.
that. They don't want to hear that it's
We're
biological.
full
They
of
don't want to hear that it's
five
heritable.
hits.
They don't want to hear it's permanent. They don't want to hear that it's irremediable and that it actually has a practical consequence. And no wonder they don't want to hear it.
Well, and
But-
even worse, they don't want to hear that it differs between genders and ethnicities. That is, to me, one of the most painful things that I've ever learned in my life. Is this kind of
my
information?
fucking
It is
God.
one of the
I
great
want-
heartbreaks
Okay,
when it
okay,
comes
stop.
to.
Stop a second. Let's just look at this picture. Let's look at this picture. This would be way more interesting if Meow Meow was actually Max Headroom.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That would make it awesome. I wish somebody screenshot this right now and then edit that for us. So just so we could have it just personally. That would be pretty awesome.
All right, we'll get that.
Well, like,
We will turn Meow Meow.
Yeah. This whole thing, like, and you pointed out earlier, Mel. There's two white dudes talking from, the fucking towers of whiteness, going, look, all this stuff says that we're great. Y'all just need to accept it. Why are y'all so upset? Like, people can't accept that they're not as awesome as us. Shut the fuck up. All right, sorry.
Yeah,
But
I
no,
just like they always this is like when you're watching Fox News and Tucker Carlson is like real good. Like Tucker Carlson does this a lot, and Ben Shapiro does this a lot. They'll be like, oh, Candace Owens does this a lot too, where they'll be like, oh yeah, so we got the numbers are in, and it says this. And it's like, what numbers? Like, where's your research? Like, where's the data? Where can I quantify and measure this stuff? There was a statistic I saw Carlson quote one time about black on black crime, and it was like, this statistic comes from the FBI website. But what he failed to mention was that it came from the FBI website had a comment section where like random people could just drop information, and he used the statistics that were in the comment section, and it was technically from the FBI website. So I'm always just like, so yeah, just show me your research. Let me take a look at it. They always the research is in.
I'm going to start commenting on the FBI website, apparently. That's what I need to start doing.
Yeah, that's
You'll
what
end up on Fox News as an expert, as a terribly important expert.
Yeah, black on black and dragon crimes went up 110%. And then to see if I can get Tucker Carlson to read that show here.
Let's get back to Kermit and Meow Meow.
Yeah, let's see what they have to say.
The dream of pure egalitarianism, and that is, I think, even harder. It's an even harder pill for people to swallow.
Yeah, well, the gender differences in IQ look relatively trivial, but there are differences in ethnicity that don't look trivial. The Ashkenazi Jews, for example, have on average a
We're not
15-point
entirely
advantage
sexist.
over
We're just
the
kind
rest
of
of the
racist,
Caucasian
sort of.
population, which is sufficient to account for their radical overrepresentation in positions of authority and influence and productivity. You know, and I am, to just get me to, just so that it's absolutely clear, I am not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying there's a real reason for it that no one wants to contend with.
Well, and it's particularly, sorry, for the Ashkenazis, it's particularly focused on language abilities. And this represents, this reflects their, quote, overrepresentation, although if you normalize by IQ, it's not the case in the arts, in novel writing, in speech writing, and so on. Ashkenazi Jews don't have a significantly strong advantage in spatial reasoning, which is one of the reasons why you'll hear a lot about Jewish writers, but not a lot about Jewish engineers. That talent seems to have spread to the East Asians in particular, who have, this is why, 40% of Google's workforce is East Asian, because there are these biological differences, and this is something that has been so strenuously avoided since, I guess, the bell curve first came out 20 odd years ago.
I can only take this in parts because I want to punch him in the face.
You have to take it in pieces because there's so much wrong there. Like I said, where's your sources? Like, where's your, like, I need to see your bibliography. I need to see something. I need to see sources need to be dictated. I need to see what it's based is on. All of this sounds observational. He's like, well, I mean, look, I don't know any Samoan scientists. Therefore, Samoans are dumb at science. It's science.
Have you seen Moana? None of them are scientists.
Yeah, not a single scientist in Moana. You're right, Billy.
I've never seen The Rock do chemistry.
Therefore, all wrestlers don't know chemistry. Wrestlers don't know chemistry.
That's still better sources than they give us.
God.
If they brought that up, it's still a million times better than what they're fucking saying.
Yeah, it's better than what they're saying because you can go, here's a movie. But no.
No, God, I just want to punch people like that in the face. Okay, so part of the thing when I was working on my Master's of Arts in Teaching, we had to do a lot of reading and understanding about all of the different types of learning needs that individual kids have. An inner city school is going to have a different set of things to overcome versus a farm school, with a bunch of farm kids. I mean, you have cultural differences, you have socioeconomic differences, you have nutritional differences. There's a whole set of education research that just focuses on schools that don't have enough resources, don't have good nutrition for their kids in very high poverty areas, because I mean there's multiple factors that play a role in intelligence and learning and academic achievement and that sort of thing. And it has nothing to do with genetics. It has to do with what zip code you're in. That's largely the problem. What zip code are you in? That's what it is. Are you in a food desert zip code where all you got are, freaking 7-Elevens to where you can go and get, and nobody's going to use their food stamps on expensive bananas in a 7-Eleven. Come on. You have food deserts. You have people who are growing up in poverty. You have all of these different societal issues that are weighing on a kid. Of course, they're not going to be 100% focused on education, particularly if they're not even getting the nutrition they need in order to develop properly. So it's like, this makes me so ragey because I'm like, it has nothing to do with genetic advantage. It has nothing to do with biological differences. It has to do with what zip code are you in.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Which is why I faked my address to send my daughter to a better school growing up. So it was like the schools in this area are better. So my mom's address is my address. So I have bills going to my mom's house in my name so that, my daughter can go to school there.
I mean, that's a fact.
It says a lot about the type of society that we live in, the socioeconomic world we live in, where if you don't make this much money, then that means that your kids have to go to a lesser quality school, as opposed to having a standard level of education that every district can adhere to. So it's an ugly thing. I remember the moment I realized that when I was in school, like when I was in college, I was in like a super advanced English class. I was an English major, and we were doing this paper about, I don't know, we read something, and they had used they had made the reference of America being a melting pot. And I had stood up and said, well, instead of the melting pot metaphor, I think America is more like a salad bowl, where it's like you got all these different ingredients, where it's like you got the salad, like you got like romaine lettuce here, the croutons there, the tomatoes here, the onions there, and we're all kind of forced on top of each other, but everybody's still kind of maintaining their own individuality in the rest of the salad. The professor thought it was a brilliant observation, but somebody in the class was like, hold up. Do you know what a melting pot is? And I was like, no, I'd never heard that term before. And then everybody laughed. It was like, oh my God, how has he never heard the term melting pot before? Because where I come from is not a term that gets regularly used. You know what I'm saying?
It's just,
so it's just, and it's one of those things that, like, you don't recognize it until you recognize it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. Like, when I talked to friends of mine that went to school in like upstate New York, and I hear about their level of education that they got in like middle school and high school versus what I got in middle school and high school. It's a huge difference. But the school district that they went to is a much more affluent part of the country. So everybody makes more money there. And then because they make more money, they got better teachers, they got better supplies, they got better everything. You know, and you don't, and it's one of those things you don't recognize. Like, you don't know that you're not getting enough information until you talk to somebody who has more information than you.
That's exactly true. And the thing that there's a huge issue with, particularly with No Child Left Behind, is your school doesn't get money unless the kids do better. And so you have to show growth in that your kids are doing better in testing. But if you don't have the resources to help them meet what you consider the standard is, you're not going to get the money you need for your school. It absolutely sucks, and it's completely wrong.
Yeah, you can't get the job without the experience. You can't get the experience without the job.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just horrible. It's a terrible setup. I don't want to watch any more of Meow Meow and Kermit. Yeah, I want to watch the rest of it. We want to move on to something else because they're just.
I was curious to see, do they ever give their sources, or is it just
we can keep
two
going.
guys speculating?
Let's see if they actually. Let's see if we can make it through without going, oh my God.
Okay, yeah, let's see. Let's give it at least 30 seconds. Let's see. I'm curious.
I think the consequences of avoiding it, it's the old thing, gives you a short-term benefit, but the long-term catastrophes, I think, are still accumulating.
So one of the problems with the stratification is that, okay, so let me give you an example here. It's illegal in the United States to induct anyone in the armed forces who has an IQ of less than 83. And the reason for this is that despite the fact that the armed forces has been desperate for bodies since its inception and is still desperate in peacetime and in wartime, and that the armed forces has been used as a social mechanism for moving people out of the underclass into the lower middle class, let's say.
God.
And I'm pointing that out just to state forthrightly that the armed forces, above all, had every reason not to want this to be the case. They determined after approximately 100 years of study that anyone with an IQ of 83 or less couldn't be anything.
Oh, I was in the armed forces. I have no clue what my IQ is. None. Whatever. Like, they don't test your IQ. God damn it. They do have an interesting idea.
Yeah. Sometimes shit is so stupid, especially when it's two motherfuckers trying to sound smarter than they are.
Okay.
I have no words.
I don't
I
either.
was-
I just
I'm literally trying to quantify this right now. Like I'm googling this. Like what is the minimum IQ required for the Army? I'm trying to. So I found like you know how like
I
Google
can
does
tell you
the
the
thing, like,
minimum ASVAB score. I know the minimum ASVAB score is 35.
yeah, but I mean, you know,
That's not an
come on.
IQ thing.
No, it's not.
But
It's
I
like,
wouldn't
can
want
you
that
read, write,
person.
color?
I wouldn't want that person who got a 35 on the ASVAB to be a medic, though, Billy.
No, they're not a medic.
They're not medics.
They end up they end up being like firefighters, cooks,
cannon fodder,
painters,
infantry.
and shit like that. Yeah, infantry, depending on what branch you're in.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So-
Okay.
And shit, after World War II, did you guys see like the pictures of the empty boats in Hawaii? Like where we just had like a ghost town of like 12 fucking ships just chilling because
Yeah.
we're done. And the military's like, stop hiring people. We're done. And apparently Jordan Peterson's wrong again on another thing. Weird.
Oh god.
I-
It's just,
I hate Jordan
I
Peterson.
can't
He got
stand him.
famous for not knowing the law he didn't read. How did that fucking happen? How?
Yeah.
yeah.
If you support Jordan Peterson, please pull your head out of your own ass, and I hate you.
Like it looks like this might have been a thing that the Army did during World War One. But I can't find any proof that this is something that the Army does currently.
Oh, they
Oh,
don't.
God.
They don't even test your IQ. They just give you a standardized test.
Yeah,
That is.
it's not any different really from like the FCATs they give kids in school. It's not. It's maybe a little bit more advanced, but it's not college level at all.
oh my god.
The like certain parts are harder than the SAT because like with the end of it they give you like a thing where you have to like put shapes and shit in different directions to kind of decide if you want to be like an electrician or something that has to be able to think on the fly real quick. They do shit like that. Like they try to get you out of your
Yeah.
comfort zone to see if you can't figure out shit.
This is a present
Hence
for
the reason I
Peter.
was an electrician.
Peter did all of my screens as well as like my intros and my outros for the show. So good job.
All
There
right.
you go.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes,
That's
that
awesome.
is very well done. That is amazing. Amazing.
I didn't realize he put the border on that. It should actually be this, but yes,
Okay. That's all right.
that's better.
Yeah,
Kermit
that's
and
great.
Meow.
That's good. Nice. You got the glasses and the bow tie and everything. That's good stuff. He's even got the white cornrows. That's pretty badass. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, Meow Meow never looked
That's
so good.
badass. Good.
Meow Meow never
Looks
looked
awesome.
so good.
I like it.
I absolutely adore Doc.
Because I have testicles for some reason,